Good evening, Gaffer. How does it feel? Because it's a special game for everyone, but I imagine above all for you, because it's your first match in this tournament against perhaps the most dangerous opponents, at least in my opinion. On a personal level, it's hugely exciting, but as the hours tick by, it becomes increasingly an emotion which is not necessarily toxic. It's a happy, infectious, fantastic emotion, and to be in a wonderful place and play a wonderful game of football. As you've said, it is a dangerous match. It is a potential banana skin. I agree with that. Silvinho has done a very good job at building this team. He has come up with a very clear, balanced style of play. We're up against footballers that are very familiar with Serie A, that they have quality. Bayrami, Aslani, Husai, Jim City. These are all players that play very good football. They're familiar with Serie A. They've shown what they can do in the Italian domestic league, and so it will be a tough match, as you said. My opinion is that if PSG decide to get rid of Donnarumma, he'll find a better team. I don't think Donnarumma's performance levels will drop off to such an extent that I therefore need to make a selection decision. That said, he needs to be very careful. He needs to be on his toes because we've got some top-class goalkeepers in Italy, just like the ones that we've brought with us, like Guglielmo Vicario and Alex Meret. So it's all great, and it's only right that we're working with such top-class goalkeepers. It's true. Occasionally, results can vary in terms of what you're able to go away with. But it's very difficult to actually track the trajectory of a football. There are some matches whereby the results are actually the complete opposite to what you've seen in terms of the way the match has panned out itself. In terms of what you were alluding to, the fact that you always need to be a team, that you need to show what your trademark is, what your brand of football is that you want to do, that's all very important. And that's what we're working towards. The issue is, occasionally, the opposition stop you from succeeding on that score. But I really believe that our team will succeed in showing what it is we want to do in terms of the style of football we want to produce. That doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed to get results and wins. But what it does do is it gives you the feeling that you are part of a group. You're part of something which doesn't only pertain to the 11 starters on the field, but also the 60 million Italians that will actually be out there playing matches with us. We're not asking our fans to cheer us on. We're asking our supporters to actually be out there alongside us on the pitch itself. Sometimes I'm very sad and disappointed to come here and actually comment on things that I haven't actually said. And I can't understand why it is I have to comment on this. What I did say was, I don't want them. So we took, for instance, a game that they like playing as an example. But what I'm interested in is that they actually sleep at night. I'm not bothered about what exactly it is they do. I don't allow people to spend all night being up until all hours, so that then the next morning they're not completely rested and then they go out to train. I've got nothing against any sort of game. On the contrary, we have actually created a games room where there are 2 wonderful, modern, cutting-edge PlayStations that everyone goes there and plays there. I've even had a go at it myself. I'll post it on social media to show that I've also played it as well. But they do so within the scope of the right time of day. I think it's only right that a player at this level playing in fixtures that are important such as these, I don't think it's acceptable that they're awake until 3 or 4 a.m. That's not acceptable. They say, okay, we're used to that, we'll sleep in the morning. No, where are you used to that? You need to sleep at night. There are psychoanalysts that have proven. There are professors in any area of the world that will actually give you indications on that. So we need to make sure that we impart a correct lifestyle so that we can then produce our best football during matches themselves. So it's not fair and it's not true that I said that we can't play PlayStation. I said we can't stay up until 3 or 4 a.m. That's something completely different. A short time ago, you spoke about having the Italian people on the pitch, and in Empoli, you said we need greater self-confidence. Tomorrow night's match is tricky in terms of character. Does your group of players have the personality to try and manage a game against Albania, whereas the Albanians will certainly have a lot of character? And if I may, very quickly, besides the back three or back four, is it going to be Alessandro Buongiorno or Gianluca Mancini? Who's going to lead the defence there? I don't know if you've made a decision on who's going to replace Francesco Acerbi at Euro 2024. First of all, we are playing a starring role when it comes to any Italian that tucked a ball under their arm after school and went out to play football and then went home at night with their face tired, with their shirt dripping in sweat, with their knees grazed. We are the dream for all of those individuals. As I said this morning, for our fellow countrymen, we are heroes, we are giants. We are those that can't possibly not put 100% out there on the pitch. And giving 100% is all about showing the stuff of players that don't struggle with what the atmosphere might be like or the level of the competition or the importance of that specific match. We need to go out there and show them that we are at the level that they believe we're at. And giants and heroes have no fear of going out there and trying to get a result in a football match. There are those who are more or less experienced, but during our training sessions, we have seen the right mood and spirit in the camp, which suddenly appears very quickly. All of the ingredients that you need to be up to the task, and that's what all the Italian people want to see. Every single one of us needs to make sure that we've got our toolbox and we're able to screw and unscrew what you do or don't need to do. The second question was about Calafiori. Fortunately, I could still remember that question. I was a little bit lucky because normally I forget these questions, but I remembered that one. But you've forgotten someone. It's only natural that Gianluca Mancini is someone who has more experience. And experience ultimately goes hand in hand with the age that you have. Experience is all about having taken more decisions than someone else, whether those decisions are right or wrong. But ultimately, the way you acquire experience is by being forced to make a decision. So Mancini probably has more experience, but Alessandro Bastoni, I believe, is mature enough to be able to do that. But players like Alessandro Buongiorno and Riccardo Calafiori do have the makings of those who want to make it, those who want to get to the top of the game. You can see it in their eyes. They're two consummate young men. We are a very professional group of players. Something which keeps coming up and keeps being said to me with regards to the role and the task of a head coach is all about not having much time available to you. But when you don't have much time available to you, but you're working with players of this level, players that are this professional in terms of what they've shown me over the last few short days in this short period of time, your work, your job means that you can no longer hold that up as an excuse. You have the best possible working conditions, just like being at a club, because they're able to perceive things, they're able to manage things, they're able to absorb a lot more things than you would necessarily do at club level. They look so switched on, they've immediately done what's been asked of them. So I think we will be what we want to be out there on the pitch. Best of luck for the Euro. On day one at Coverciano, you said to us, in terms of the idea that you have for this national team, is that we'll typically play with a back four against oppositions that play with one striker, or a back three against two strikers. Is it still the same idea that you've got? And a question about Gianluca Scamacca. Yesterday he seemed to have a lot more belief in terms of what a good player he is. Do you believe that over the last few months Scamacca has also made progress on that score? If that's what I said, I probably said something which has been misinterpreted. We can decide to play with a back three, but we might even be more attacking with a back three as opposed to playing with a four-man defence. The interpretation depends. But I said that we also need to be able to play with two strikers, because I think we've got two great penalty box players, Scamacca and Retegui. Raspadori has a different skill set. He can actually come short and drop in to receive the ball, but he's a second striker. He typically likes to link up with the team as opposed to being an out-and-out goal scorer that runs high up the pitch and gets involved in one-against-one challenges inside the 6-yard box. I think we can go with either of those two approaches. And the way to do so comes via our positioning. But it all comes down to whether we can actually dominate proceedings. If you're able to boss the game in a certain way, you're therefore in charge in terms of positioning. But if it becomes a match whereby it's 50-50, either I have the ball and I attack you, or you have the ball and you charge at me, in all of these various situations, in terms of duels and challenges and tactical matchup, there is no scope to necessarily make a decision and choose what it is you do. It will come down to how neat and tidy we are, to how we're able to manage the game itself. And that will allow us to therefore take play into an area of the pitch where we want to, of our choosing. It will come down to the quality of football we're able to produce, whether or not we're able to choose. Scamacca, who has greater belief in his own ability. Yes, Scamacca has really improved a great deal in recent times, and we've congratulated him for that. He's a complete striker. He's got everything. He really has everything. Occasionally, he needs to actually compare his performances with the other guys' displays. If I'm able to cover X amount of meters in a match, then that means I encounter fewer situations than had I actually covered double the amount of meters. So within 10 attacking movements, 10 runs towards the opposition goal, you might only receive the ball 5 times. If you make that run 20 times, you'll receive it 10 times. And then you say, okay, but that's quite draining, that's tiring. Yes, but there is a certain number of effort that you do in a match. So everyone is able to make those runs at a certain pace. So you ask the same things to have an average number of outcomes and results for someone else who plays the same position as him. I wanted to ask you what the latest is on Niccolò Barella in terms of training yesterday. Is he a doubt for the match? Does it come down to how he feels? Would it be a risky team selection? What's the latest on Niccolò? Yesterday, he did the entire training session. And we have another training session today, a bit of a training game as well. So we'll look at all of the various things that come to pass today. We'll hear how he is feeling himself, because he's already had a slight niggle very similar to this in the past. And in that situation, he was able to play the game he needed to. But ultimately, what it comes down to, what matters a lot, are the club doctors. They're the professionals. Players always want to go out there and play. But everything up until yesterday evening lead us to believe that he is available for selection. We'll have one final check today, but Paolo Corbi sat alongside me, the press officer, is very good at analysing things. So Corbi's going to decide, no, I will break the news. No, in terms of reporting what it is in the training session. Oh, are you a coward? No. Okay, no, I'm saying he's the one when there is a doubt, just like yesterday. He'll say so in the WhatsApp group. Everyone's available for selection.